Last week, we collected leaves from around the school, and you were asked to create a dichotomous key out of the leaves. Some of us found this a little difficult, so what I have done over the weekend is gone out and collected some leaves from around the home. What I'm going to do is create a dichotomous key out of them. So what you'll need is your science book and a pen, and to be following along with what's happening. You'll notice that all of the leaves collected are different. Some of the way they look and the way that they're shaped, while others with their texture or the way they feel. You'll notice that the first thing that I've gone to do is the most observable, and that's to classify them into round, as we can see on the right, or longer and skinnier, as we can see on the left. Firstly, let's concentrate on the leaves that are round. You won't be able to see this, but I have physically touched and felt both of our leaves for texture. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to classify them as having a soft texture, which the one on the right had. So that will be named as a soft, or classified as a soft texture, while the one on the left had more of a spiky texture. So from being round, we both classified them as having different texture. One is having soft, while the other on the left is having spiky. So we know that the round ones have now been classified according to their texture. One is being spiky while the other is being soft. Now we're going to look at our longer leaves. We can obviously see that they are all long, but what we're going to do is we are going to classify them into colours. We can easily observe that 3 of our leaves, just circled, have a darker colour. So what we're going to do is classify them as being dark in colour. You also notice that one of them has a much lighter colour. So we are going to classify this one as having a light colour. You'll notice that still the 3 that are dark have not been classified down into a singular leaf. So that's what we're going to do next. So now we're going to classify our remaining 3 leaves, the dark ones. As you can see on the right, that leaf has easily seeable veins. So that one we're going to make easily seeable or viewable veins. The other 2 are much smaller, and we can't see if they have veins or not. So we're going to classify them as not having veins, or not easily seeing their veins here. So now we notice that we have 2 remaining long leaves to classify. It's not very observable, but we can see that the one on the left has dots if you look closely at it. So this one we're going to classify as having small dots on it. The other one doesn't have dots, so we're going to classify this as not having dots on it, making sure that both of our last ones have been classified properly. So now that all of our leaves have been classified, we can look at them closely and revisit what we've talked about. Firstly, let's focus on the right. Our leaves started together and then we focused them into round or longer. The round were classified as having a different texture. One texture as being more spiky to touch or feel, while the other as being much more softer to feel. Moving over to the left, we looked at our longer leaves. We separated them into their colours to start off with. One on the left had a much lighter colour, while the other 3 on the right had a much darker colour. From there, we looked at the leaves that had veins. The one on the right had much more seeable or observable veins within it, while the other 2, we couldn't see any veins, so they were classified as having no veins. Lastly, we looked at our 2. We can not see easily observable, but one had small brown dots in it, while the other one didn't. So now we've classified all of our different leaves in a dichotomous key. So here we have the end product of our dichotomous key. Make sure that you have written this down clearly and concisely within your science book. Knowing dichotomous keys is vital for classification, and this will be very helpful before we move on to the next part of our classification unit.